Alright, hey guys, it's Ben from Second Dynasty here. What am I looking at? I'll tell you shortly. I just need to set up the chat first. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully well. Nice to see some people in the chat that are familiar. Lots of people actually, and of course, Mr. Train Nerd himself, Hannes, bringing up the pep, which is nice to see. So hopefully you guys can hear me all right. I can't see that the stream has come through yet, but it's supposed to be. I'm going to refresh the page. I can see the chat at least. I'm going to say hi in the chat. And there we go. I can see myself. So we're going. What is today all about? All right. First, the usual disclaimers. Ben from Second Dynasty. We make 3D printable starships at 28mm scale. We've been doing this for 5.5 years now. And yeah, we're working on our most recent large ship, the Odyssey, today, which is launching on the 22nd of February. And this week has been full of stress for me, mostly because I've realized that there's only 3 weeks left, less than that right now. So yeah, I guess I'll get you guys caught up on where we are at. But if you are new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe because, yeah, it helps and stuff, whatever. Alright, let me just turn on the fancy bells and whistles, maybe not lighting per se, but we can have a look at where we're at with the Odyssey at the moment. And I might just clean up this scene real briefly. I was eating and not paying attention beforehand, prior to the stream itself. By the way, guys, if you can't hear me well enough, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. But hurrah, stress. Right, so what we want to do is we want to add these to my other objects layer. That's basically just a junk layer. There's a couple other items here that I want to do. And we can start looking at what we have changed. One of the biggest things, let me just... let's start by turning on the outer deck. So there are a couple of little artifacts in here, and that's just because we're in the middle of sort of like finishing up the details. You sound glorious. Thanks, Hannes. So yeah, here's the basic ship. Maybe we can put on some lighting. Not all of it's going to work. But you get a better idea about the environment. And if we turn on lights, you can even see the very fancy schmancy. Let's see, can I deselect something? Alright, just vaguely what the scene looks like, ready for rendering. One of the big changes has been adding the engineering section this last couple of days. This was vastly simplified. I think it might actually be easy to turn the lighting off here to see this. So you can kind of see the detail that we've added to the back here. This was all just flat before. So we have all of this geometry that just adds a bit of shape, makes it interesting. The ribbed section at the back has actually been changed into a proper, well, I would define these as being radiators, which is something that, you know, people complain that a lot of spaceships have. So this one does, and compared to the original version of this, these are now evenly spaced, so it might not 100% look like it, but the gaps in between each should be identical at the moment. So yeah, we need to, yeah, you can see all this paneling. It looks really great in render. I don't know if I've got, let me see if I can find this. I want to go to Odyssey. Yeah, here we go. So if I open this up, and hopefully that's new, and you can kind of see the engineering section here, but I'll show that off later. So here's what it looks like rendered. Nice and fancy. Of course, for this actual frontier, we're not actually going to be able to get everything printed in time. Maybe, just maybe, we have a chance of getting it printed with some of our wonderful backers on the Discord. But I don't think my printers can handle it in time because they're not fast enough. This is quite a large ship. It's still about 80 centimeters. Alright, so yeah, that was mostly what I wanted to show off the rendering for. So let's drop off the top deck and see what's new here. What I've been working on is this new partition. So this uses the partition system, and I'm working on a new door here. Uses the partition system from the Beowulf and Type S. I've also built into, this is actually a whole new modification of the ribs that we had on the for the bulkheads. You can see here that you just replace the middle, so you can easily customize the interior. To show you how the pattern has changed, here's like the deck below. So we've widened the pattern a little bit, and we've also flattened it out. Sorry about that. What else have we changed? Yeah, the workshop's in there. It is a little bit cramped. Oh, I changed the position of the ladder too, because it was coming up in here, and now instead the crawl space here has its own ladder well, so that you can actually access every single level of the ship from the crawl space, which was kind of like what I was going for. Okay, the main theme with Odyssey, and you can kind of see in here where all the ducting is. The main theory with the Odyssey is to make a ship feel functional. So, you know, you can not literally turn off switches and that, but the features are there so you can easily imagine how the ship might be used. So right now I'm going to put a med lab and a science lab up here. Then we'll have the living quarters here. And then if I drop down another level, so take deck 3 off, and there's still a number of items here that need to be attached to deck 3 actually, so I'm just going to grab these and we're going to put them all on, actually this as well, and we're just going to stick them into the deck 3, which should make them disappear. So yeah, sorry about this, I'm just organizing at the same time, but it should help people follow a little bit easier, I think. There's going to be a couple of objects where we don't do too much. Alright, so you can see the deck below now. So yeah, I repositioned the stairs, so these, the ladders, sorry. So this ladder well continued up before into the Chief Engineer's office, which in case it wasn't clear on deck 3, that's what this room is going to be. So you've got a workshop here, you've got the Engineer's office there. Then you have the ladder well going to be on the opposite side here, which means we do have to change a few things. Oh, sorry, it's not going down to the deck below, that's still happening here, right? So we're not interfering with any of the crawl spaces underneath, although it does affect where you can come up in the crawl space. So for example, here is one of the new hinges which lets you get out of the crawl space. On the other side, I'm planning on having some machinery related to the airlock, so a couple of tanks for air and whatnot. On deck 3 previously, I was planning to have an airlock here at the back. When I started stressing about time, I realized this is just not going to work in the time frame that we have. So if it gets done at all, it'll be getting done as a stretch goal. So I'm just going to change to my select tool here. The major change you might have noticed already is engineering with all these pipes. It's an open sort of plan. This really looks like a functional room. We've got our fold slash fusion drive or something. It is some kind of fusion, but I'm kind of going with the Macross technology, so it's both a fold drive and the technology for folding actually pulls energy through some kind of fusion reaction with particles from the superdimensional space, which is what basically hyperspace. All the piping feeds into the engines. We've got a ton of detail on the walls. Again, when I was talking about functionality, not only do you have stuff like air vents and whatnot that we always had, but here we have, a wall full of power conduits and breakers, switches. You got controls for each engine, readouts for each engine. The power cables feed down into the ducting system. So again, if I take off deck 2, we can see down into the crawl space where you can see all these pipes that John modeled. Now, the plan for the printed version is not to use plastic 3D printed piping. The plan is actually, you can kind of see here one of the loose holes. This remains loose for an additional cable to machinery I haven't put in yet that I'm probably going to put here or here. And basically my idea is you buy hair ties, super cheap. I use them obviously to tie my hair back, and you just put them in one end and on the other, and there you go, you've got your cables. Nice big thick cables. So that's a better option, I feel, than doing everything. And again, now that we've got the decks off, let's look at the system here. You get into the duct system here, or you could use the access panel here to get into the duct system at the front. We've got some more of your machinery. We're going to have some sensors up the front here that I still need to model. I'm thinking something long and wide that kind of points downwards in a 45-degree angle through the glass dome. Something like a sort of quarter hemisphere sort of sensor, I don't know, with some cameras or whatnot. I'm not entirely sure yet how we're going to do that or articulate it, but this is a survey/science ship, right? The dock system, again, more features. You can get up through the floor into the bridge. You can get up through the floor into you can get out through the cargo bay, up into the bay above the airlock. Yeah, it feels like this ship has some playability in it, is the idea. And then of course, I don't know if I got this done last week or not, but I changed the position of the lift, which was previously where the airlock is above here now, because deck 2 was feeling very cramped in here, and now I moved the laser weaponry to either side. We kept the airlock, and originally I wanted the lift right here so that you could get cargo up into the hangar bay. But then I'm like, actually, if we move it into the hangar bay, since we've changed the shape of it, not only do I think that this configuration looks more interesting, like it reminds me of the Sulaco a little bit with these odd shapes and whatnot. It feels like now that this hangar bay is designed for a ship of this size, like you could fit in something like a little larger. But it has been moved back by about an inch. All of this isn't printable yet. There's going to be a challenge to get all of this printable in time. So we'll see how much new stuff we get in there. Obviously, all the bulkheads need changing to the new kind. I haven't decided yet if they're all going to have slots in them or if I'm going to make them customizable. I'm yammering on here, so I might just read some of the comments you guys have made. Let's see. In the crawl space, everyone can hear you scream. Yes, they can. The new bulkhead and general feel of making them customizable is a great thing. I love that I could put wider doors and other things in. Yes, you could. And we may even add wider doors as part of like the stretch goals and whatnot. There's a ton of ideas. You guys already provided many ideas as well. Let's keep going. Are the crawl spaces exactly 1 inch wide? I ask for reasons. I can provide you with some example crawl spaces that plus the Tamaflange for also reasons. But yes, technically the width here, including the walls, is 1 inch. So it's probably closer to a little over 2 centimeters on the inside. I know I'm switching vernacular there, but you know, I'm a metric man. Wouldn't that make it a 0-point energy generation as opposed to fusion? I don't know. It's Japanese design. Who knows? It's probably, you know, some kind of entity on the other side.
Yeah, shift to goddess or something.
Yeah, I was thinking much worse things, but I'm not going to say that on stream. I don't want to get cancelled. Wouldn't that make it... okay, sorry. I think it draws the particles it fuses from hyperspace. Yeah, something like that. Doesn't 0-point energy make use of the Casimir effect? I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I've heard of 0-point energy, but have no idea how it would work. Or hobby electronics wire, most are the same or close to in thickness as filament. So these pipes are much thicker than filament, though, just so you know. But yeah, there are options. All right, so that brings us up to date, and it's interesting to note that when I read the comments, people stop commenting. So I don't know if we can drop off deck 2 again and just once again have a look at the final results in here, or near to final results. This isn't finished by any means. I'm going to have some more controls down here, I think. But you know, we do need to have this printable by the 22nd. So there's a lot of stuff to get done. As you can see, this is just a stand-in, roughly modeled for the ladder system. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work yet. Probably needs to be integrated with the floor panel next to it for easy printing. Yeah, so much happening, and so little time. But yeah, I haven't even got to, you know, the way we're opening this up. Although we're probably going to use some kind of sliding floor paneling by the end of things. I mean, this will fold down. I'm not sure if it's not rigged. Sorry. We also have to do like the landing gear bays with the doors and whatnot. It's gonna be stressful. It's gonna be stressful. But we'll get there in 2.5 weeks. We'll definitely get there. In the meantime, Alban has been doing the Gary Bath, and this because I just don't have the time to do it right now. This was kind of the plan all along too, because I want Alban to get to a point where, you know, he's making more stuff all by himself. That's his cries of something. I don't know. But anyway, let's get back to what we were doing today. Oh, one shout out though to John from John Games. Always sounds weird saying that. But he has made a tabletop 3D printable board game called Trapped. And it's currently on Frontiers on my Manufactory. And I should probably share that right now in the chat. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Actually, we'll look at it. As you can see, he's ridiculously underpriced himself here. It's just a $10 pledge, I think. Oh, I can't see the price because I've already pledged. So yeah, look, he honestly deserves more attention for this thing. It's his very first campaign. The game itself is really nifty. Check out the video for yourself. I'll drop the link into the chat if I can find it. It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. I just remembered I might have to turn off my system. I already did. Okay. So yeah, check it out. It's a cool little game. It's all about trapping your opponents like so to eliminate them. It can be played in as little as 5 to 10 minutes. Being tested a whole heap. And everything prints support free. Just check it out. He deserves the attention. The game deserves a play. And although I haven't played it myself, I understand that it's just an ideal game, like for example, if you're having a board game night and several players get eliminated from the game, this is a cool little game that they can play on the side while they wait for the rest of the game to resolve. So it's also, you know, a good little game that you might pop out if you're having a role-playing session, you're splitting the party, the game master is just running 1 or 2 players, the other 2 players have nothing to do, they could play a game of Trapped while they wait. So yeah, just a few suggestions there. Check it out. The link again is in the chat, and I'll make sure to add it to the description for the show later on as well. It's just 1 tier for $10. That's right, Tamsin. Yep. Since hounding Ben about making alien spaceships has not worked, should I switch to hounding Alvin to make them? I mean, the Garo Bath was meant to be more of a like alien-y type ship, but the cockpit is kind of the same as our other cockpits. So I don't know. Cockpits take a long time to make. Let's see. It doesn't mean Macross or Robotech uses an actual flower as the power source. It's definitely not Macross. That's a Robotech thing. And yeah, that was just a way that they tried to get the 3 series to go together because the third one has power flowers. Flower power. Wow, the hidden message of Robotech. I wonder why I didn't like it. Anyway, yeah, we're going back to this door that we're making. Kind of looking for a more industrial style door, as you can see. The frame needs adaptation. You can see that this is just ripped out of the Beowulf. Just as a guide, the only thing I'll probably keep is the rough frame, or this is going to be circular, and the handles, and some kind of semiotics. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do yet. And I just realized the semiotics here need the proper color. So let's just pop on a lamb gray there, just so it sticks out a little bit. Great. So yeah, I've been prepping to run a Colonial Marines campaign, and I've got a lot of Alien on the brain. Not entirely certain about the 3D printer here yet. It feels kind of cramped. Maybe we'll just ditch it or make a smaller version of it. And hey, there's an artifact there. What's all that about? Oh, I'm not going to investigate it now. So yeah, we're working on the door and the door frame. So this is what we're going to work on. Or as a role-playing session, it becomes... Okay, you could integrate Trapped as a part of the game, is what you're saying. I'm sure John will love all those suggestions if he ever turns up. Alright. So, a few things I want to grab. Why did that not work? We've got the frame here. Okay. So yeah, I've modeled this. This isn't the highest detail I've ever done on one of these things, but it's alright. I kind of hate how fat this is, but I'm not entirely sure how we can really address that unless maybe we'll try just one last time. I've already tried a couple of times. We'll stick the pivot point here. And then I think the way that we would do it is just move this slightly, and we'll do it by eye, just what looks mostly good, right? So this looks like this now should be about as thick as here. And then what we want to do basically is just scale in 2 directions. So we need to change the direction of our scaling here. Oh, we need to find something that actually is quadratic. There we go. We're going to move the pivot point back to here. And then we're just going to try scaling this down a little with the idea that... Oh, I was about to point at the screen. Actually, we want to get back in this view. Because we want this line to be up there. I'm just going to undo because we need to kind of keep an eye down the bottom on how much we're actually scaling this right now. So this is being scaled by 0.88. That's 0.87, so 0.88 is where we want to be at. I think that's the closest. And then we're just going to go in the opposite direction. And it should also be 0.88, yep. So now, that doesn't look right. This didn't work. Maybe we need to do each line by themselves. Up here looks good, I think. I don't know. Maybe we can just cheat a little bit and do like this. Yeah, there was quite a gap there. Okay. So something like that. You know, that doesn't look too bad coming into that. So we'll just do that. We'll move these there, there, and there. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it looks a little bit better, I feel, than it did before. So I don't know if this would be actually a sliding door, or if it it actually would. It almost looks like a kind of door that you would just open out. So in any case, I want to be duplicating different parts of this door right now. So the main thing is the door frame and iterating on the thing that we just did. So I'm going to duplicate this, but just grab the corner piece that we were working on. So like to there.
They wondered if the USS Sulaco is in the pipe concerning the alien campaign.
No.
I had to check how long it is.
It's
like
700 meters.
Oh, okay. 385 I found.
It depends on the source.
Yeah. It's all in the source.
In any case, 385 is 7 chimeras. 7.5 chimeras. It's not happening. Not to mention the fact that alien ships are like all machinery and like 5% living space anyway. Alright, so we're just going to continue copying this. Hopefully, actually, all I needed to do here, I think, is just mirror it in Y. And then again, minus 1, no, 1, 1. There we go. Alright, so we got all these shapes. We can just eliminate the old sections. Bump. Bump. Okay, and then we just grab them all together. And combine.
7.5 chimeras before the community makes stretched versions.
That makes it 3.5, almost 4 meters long. Actually, 3.5 is probably accurate. So we've got one side of our door now. Now we need to work on the frame, because the frame does not look like it should. So the trick here would be to grab these corner pieces, and we're going to do the same thing where we mirror them. And I really kind of like the look of this so far. So that's that. Then we'll go down here. I believe this is on the grid. So we can just go -1 there. And duplicate and -1. And we put this over there. Assuming that's all right. Because we did change the angles here, and I suspect it's because we were going for a different shape. So I'm just gonna cut out this section. There's actually a couple of different areas where I'm trimming down and removing features that were part of the Beowulf, so we don't have an identical piece here. I want Traveller to be its own identity, basically, which makes sense, you know. This ship, we're kind of returning to our Second Dynasty aesthetics. Alright. So I'm just removing all of these excess edges. The model itself is a bit funny. It's going to require some work done on the frame because there's like elements of this that just don't work out at the sort of scale we're working at, or other yeah, just features I'm getting rid of basically. Oh, that's annoying. What's that thing? I think we're just going to delete that altogether. So yeah, you can kind of see I was in the process of moving this frame over, and we'll be doing that with the other side. But I'm more concerned with like just getting one side first. So you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna select all of this. We're gonna separate it off into its own mesh, and then we're actually gonna remove this. So let's go. Actually, no. We'll select this and all the edges we have. And the door, so we can kind of see where we want to be. And then yeah, we've got all of this area we can kind of mess around with and start sort of integrating around the frame. So right now this is very tight, but actually the door is probably going to sit a little bit further back, like here. So there'll be a little bit of a gap. And of course the final door will probably be squared off a little bit, so there'll be an additional frame that you can't really see at the moment. So let's just get rid of this and this and start integrating these corners. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, that I didn't think I thought the frame needed moving a bit. So yeah, we've moved it into place there, and then it should follow the frame better. But that also gives us the indication that we need as to where it should be going. Let's see. What's like a lifeboat or something? All right. So yeah, I'm just returning the frame here. This is something that I do quite often these days because it takes a long time to create from scratch. Oh, we didn't fix this up. Okay. This is interesting. This means that I didn't actually create a perfectly symmetrical wall piece. I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna secure those and double check that we don't have any issues up there as well. So that looks better. We're probably going to actually change the central frame thing. We might put in a window, a control panel or something. Not entirely sure. You can see here we've got some weird warping going on, basically because the faces here don't really work out. Let's see. This polygon needs removal. So yeah, we need to recreate some of the geometry. Don't know what's going on. It's Friday. It's always my excuse, but maybe I'm just going crazy. So yeah, we can integrate all four of those corners now, actually. Wait, no. Let's keep them a separate mesh. But we'll combine these meshes. And then we'll actually duplicate them in case we need them for the opposite side. And now we will combine. Mesh, combine. And then we should be able to connect these up. So I'm going to start removing some of these pieces and recreating that geometry we were talking about. So I don't know what this inner frame's about. Maybe it's about where the door ends. So here we go. What a week. It's gone by so quick. Okay, we needed to be one more over than that. Because this was not moved properly. So this is just one of those things where, you know, the features really matter. They bring a lot of life to the design. Wow, this is really not where it's supposed to be. Let's grab all this and center it. I suspect it's because of the fact that we had those chamfered edges before, and it just hasn't lined up the way you would hope it would. Let's see, and we'll actually put that there. Put that there. Feel myself mumbling now. Kind of like Alvin. Alright, so the frame around the door now looks more like what we're expecting to see, right? And let's see, if we select around here, alright, notice how the highlighted edge has gone all the way around. That's because we need to actually merge the vertices. And we'll do the same at the top. So now if I select one of these squares, it should select just around this edge. And it didn't. Why not? Okay, this new edge we did wasn't connected either, so maybe we need to connect this down here. No, it's not working? Okay. Tricks of the trade. We're going to rebuild all of this geometry. The easiest way is to grab here, grab there, grab there. Sometimes Maya just misbehaves. Now we've got the little thing, we're going to do a fill, and we're actually going to then take this and we're going to triangulate it to get nice lines. Please forgive you, it wasn't very nice of you. Forgive, oh God. Dad, is that you? Alright. I can't believe we still have people watching this tripe. Alright, so I mean, I love making new things, and I really loved my initial work on the Odyssey, but I recognize in myself that if we change the date, not only will we maybe not be able to, you know, have enough money in the bank to get to the next campaign after that, but I'll just keep on building and building and building forever. Like, I need to set limits. This whole new approach to the year is about finding balance. You know, I've gotten back to the gym, I'm eating healthier, I've lost some weight, trying to reduce stress, and this is one of the ways we do it. Because staying in production for too long, I mean, we can always make new models as a part of doing stretch goals, you know, later on down the line. Everything doesn't have to be made immediately. Right, let's fill that in as well. And we triangulate. And then we're going to do the same with the, well, I guess there's not very much geometry on the back side. So let's fill in here and here. And do the same. And yeah, now we have what looks to be more of like a solid frame. I'm kind of liking the look of that. I did kind of leave these metallic sort of frames in, but I think we'll, I don't know. I'm either of the mind to like remove the pattern under the bars but leave the frame in, or get rid of it entirely and just have a flat frame. What do you guys feel is suitable? It's background entertainment while making bunk bed variations. And a good distraction from painting models. I mean, probably just listening then, I guess, but I don't mind being listened to. Yeah, should we vote on the tiles? Let's see. Let's make a poll. We haven't done a poll for a couple of weeks. Let's see. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. Ask a question. Integrate pattern. Oh, wait. All right, there. Let's ask the community. Should we integrate this pattern here or get rid of it? Cast your votes. I get a feeling that we're going to be keeping the pattern. It's currently 100%. No one wants it flat. How many votes do we have? Is it just one vote?
4 votes?
4 votes. Okay. Come on, guys. There's 13 of you in there at the moment. All you needed to press it. Okay. Alban, did you vote?
I haven't. Actually, I haven't.
Okay.
That's kind of curious about that, though, because I get the possibility to vote, but it also obscures the chat for me. And I mean, I'm not the one who should vote.
Yeah, but it doesn't know.
It doesn't know.
It doesn't know your work for me, Alban.
No, that's a good point.
That was not right. I've got kind of artifacts in there. You notice I've started working on this because there's 6 votes at 100%. So there's like, A, we're never going to get all 12 concurrent viewers at the moment voting. And B, those odds are already too good. This election is rigged. It's not actually. I don't want to be like that. Alright, so there's a couple of things we might need to do to make this all work. A couple of little side effects there. I can hear that Hannes has moved on to coffee. So you guys can't see all of this.
I heard my name.
Yes, your name was spoken of.
And then I just appear.
You just appear off to the center. You go, hi.
Hi. Don't mind me. Keep working.
I am working.
Yes.
Follow train notes.
Yes.
So I keep shilling for my friends at the moment. Alright, so we want to delete this, but not the middle one. And if we just control delete, we had one rogue vertex. There we go. So the idea is I just want to flatten behind the pattern, and we're going to call the poll now. So I'm just going to end it with 7 votes at 100%. I think there's a clear indication that people want us to keep the pattern and integrate it into the frame. So we will do that. A couple of changes need to be made. You can see one of the major things is that this isn't quite lining up. You can see here, there's some overlap.
Great, you're doing fine.
Oh, thank you.
Keep
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, keep on trucking.
We're doing fine here. How are you?
Terrific. Here we go. Woo! Friday.
Hannes, everyone. The train nerd himself. Of course, he's not training this very second. But he probably is, like, getting videos ready for that, so... Or he could be working for Martin. Or Linda. Who knows? Linda's the producer we work with sometimes. On films and stuff. And God, that really doesn't say very much. Alright, let's see. I'm going back to this view. No, sorry, faces I want. All right. So yeah, basically I'm trying to get rid of all of these indentations that are behind the controls. I think we can just keep it flat and turn this into a separate object. It'll also help us like implement that. That's like an intercom. It sounds like Alvin's having a scoff at something.
Yeah. It can't be rigged. John's not here. And hey, it's the weightlifting person.
Yes, it is. The weightlifting person?
Hannes.
Yeah, no, I know Hannes. It's just like, I'm wondering if you actually just knew Hannes did that or if you've seen him on Vintergatan or something.
Yeah. That's interesting.
There's a little bit of overlap with Martin. We know Martin very well. And Hannes, of course. We know Martin through Hannes, actually. He goes to the same gym too. It's almost like he's a train nerd. Does that mean we're train nerds? I don't know. I'm on his Patreon and it says I'm a trade nerd, so I guess yes. All right. So if we just took this again, only we remove this part of the frame. So we were busy repairing this before, and now we've just closed it off completely. But the reason why is because I'm going to have this as sort of free-floating geometry. This is back in the old days of FDM, this was a big no-no. We wanted to boolean everything. But then, that was back when I was using Simplifier 3D. I saw an email from them today saying, oh, we have a new version. It's like 5.1 instead of 5.0. It's got some new features. And I looked at the features and I'm just like, yeah, Prusa Slicer and Cura have had these for ages. The depressing thing was the amount of money I paid for it. And the thing is, back when I had a FlashForge and that was my printer, it actually made a huge difference to the printing quality. But then Prusa Slicer came along and there's no comparison, unfortunately. And I can't imagine going back to it. All right, so those are closed off now. We're left with like a little bit of the frame. You can kind of see it sticking out. We've got the pattern there, and that does look cool. That does look cool. And this really, I feel the wall does make it feel like this is engineering. So we'll probably reuse these tiles as a part of... there's a stream you can actually watch,
yeah,
Alvin.
It's
too slow! Alvin likes to come on and look over my shoulder sometimes.
It's really dope.
Alright, so we're just eliminating some more of this section.
Oh, by the way, Dalton wrote, he just posted his own poll / questionnaire / feedback in the deck plans PDF of the Discord channel.
Alright, I wonder what that's about. We'll have to check it out. And speaking of the Discord, maybe I should link it? Let's see, maybe... You know what? You guys can actually do 2 birds with 1 stone. If you go to our tribe, which I will drop into the chat in just a second, if I can find the right window again. I have too many windows open. So here is a link to our My Minifactory page. Right in the description there, it actually says our Discord and our website. If you go to our Discord, you can join the Discord. And the tribes is basically, it's like Patreon. We put out small releases every month as opposed to the larger releases we do with our Kickstarters and other crowdfunding campaigns. The Odyssey itself will not be a Kickstarter. It will be a Frontier. So the main difference is it's on My Minifactory, the provider that we, our distributor. And in addition to that, it is also not a case of you're waiting for it. It's going to be available immediately, which is why I'm so stressed. If it was Kickstarter, I'd actually have gotten to the point where I was doing stretch goals at this point, because I don't have to worry about the actual release for like a month. But we're not in that position at the moment, so just changing around some of these. Wait, is that lining up? Yes. Just so that this all matches nicely. We don't want unnecessary geometry, so I'm just gonna make this all squared off. Whoops. Right now I have both grid and vertex snapping on, so if I hold the mouse, that's the wrong side, we'll put it on this side. And again, you want to do a merge. You can see here that the intercom and the handles sit nicely over the pattern. We just need to change some of the faces here that have a bit of color on them so that they match the rest of it. Let's see, we want AI metal. Got a great hack to make metal use Arnold when it renders, but otherwise in the Maya viewport it actually uses the standard Maya Fong instead, so because otherwise the material will be fully black. So we found a nice little hack this week. All right. So the question is, if we're going to keep this side at all, what I'll actually probably do is actually just keep the semiotics. And I'm only really keeping the semiotics to know which size it is, because I think we need a different one. You know what? We can go and pick the semiotics. I think it's hidden away in the other objects layer, which there's just a bit of geometry in this scene. Where is it hidden? That's the old semiotics. The new semiotics is it on its own layer? Semiotics. Oh, there they are. Here they are. So we've got the traveler ones over here. I can just feel Dalton going, what you got there, buddy? You got a couple of semiotics I haven't seen? No, actually. But I had a couple that I was designing because I didn't think we had them, but then I found more useful ones. So let's see, what would be useful for a mechanic shop? I would say we probably want just this one, which is our standard maintenance marker, and maybe we want the intercom one too somewhere. So I'm gonna grab both of these, and we will move them up. Well, I was like, oh, Maya's fast today, and then I realized it's because yesterday I was actually working from home, and I was streaming it. So let's see, we need, oh, I don't have the stream up right now. There we go. Here we go. So yeah, let's see. Let's just isolate these two again, and we can basically replace, whoops. I'm going to get the maintenance one if we can. There we go. So we just got to put this in the right place. I've got to make sure it's aligned as well. If you look at the logo, it's a spanner going onto a bolt, right? These semiotics, and this is the Traveler kind. Far Future Enterprises has their own based on it, but the one we usually use is the Alien semiotic made by Ron Cobb. So again, I'm just going to align this. Wait, is that right? Feels a bit off. Yeah, it's supposedly right. Maybe it needs to stick out a little bit more for tolerance's sake. Is that the middle? It does look like it is the middle. And, you know, for safety's sake, I'm just going to grab all of these vertices. Like so. And then we're just going to select one of the flat surfaces here. Select one of the flat Maya. Not in front of my friends. Alright, that's in place, so let's just delete the semiotic from Traveler. So we've got a nice maintenance semiotic there. The intercom one feels way too big. I don't know if it's incredibly necessary. Maybe we can just put it on the wall here. Actually, yeah, let's put it on the wall there. So these semiotics that are a bit thicker have been designed to place on the, let's see, for starters, I want to make sure I've got the right orientation here. So intercom, we've got one arrow top left, the other one top right. So of course, these aren't exactly the same as Ron Cobb's. They're a little bit more simplified. The same as the Traveler ones aren't exactly the same as the Traveler semiotics, because at scale we want something that's actually going to print. Because I'm more interested in getting something that is easy to put on, to paint in after having sliced it, essentially. So. Here we go. We want that to go through the wall just a little bit. It's near to the intercom, so you can see it. And it makes the wall slightly less boring. So, if we grab this and the frame, we can maybe, let's see, we need to remove that one. Oh, we could have left that one in underneath. It's kind of cool, actually, to leave 1, 2, 3 underneath. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah. We'll reconstitute these, which is a simple thing for us to do, because I know how much we're meant to extrude and whatnot. So we're going to extrude back minus 0.1. Let's see. I was thinking of some semiotics for indication of types of objects for some of the maps. Would semiotics make sense to be in the bulkhead above the door? It would if it was like high enough, but it doesn't make sense to have a semiotic for an intercom anywhere but where the intercom is, I think. I use a simple semiotic for iris valves for the PDFs, VTT maps to differentiate between normal and pressure doors. For a sec, I thought you were combining the symbiotic. I love that the pocket cut texture on the wall, and just noticed that enough room, not enough. Yeah, okay, you noticed what the problem was. Great. And then we're just going to do a second back extrude there. So yeah, my goal is to have this door frame done by the end of the stream, and it is 3:59. So. We're close. No cigar, probably. Alright, so I'm just selecting these so I can get rid of these edges again. And this time I'm actually going to delete all of them. And I'll just reconstitute the ones that stuff up. So that's fine. And we just need a line here again for completeness' sake. And then we can start looking at putting the frames together. So, for one thing, we probably want this all to be on the grid now. So I'm going to grab that. Whoops. When that happens and it grabs not the side you're expecting, it's because it's counting the shorter number of edges in the edge loop. So if I draw this back, it should lock to, yeah, precisely. Lock to the side here. We need to get rid of the polygons on the side. I mean, no great rush. I'm going to get this finished up during the stream today, because I don't think it'll take too much longer to get the door frame finished. So again, we need to move some of these vertex points so that they hit the same vertex points as the frame we're matching to. It's the same on this side. We don't have any frame there, but we do need a frame there. So we'll grab, we'll grab these edges. You should use that style for more projects. Well, with the indents, I mean, I've totally, like, the thing is, like, how much time do you have to do these things? Like, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing for the Odyssey, I can do to the degree I'm doing because I had the base ship of the Chimera to go off, right? And I'm, like, implementing all of the knowledge I've gained over the last years, designing for that, and implementing it. Wait, that's an interesting selection. Yeah, and just implementing it in this design, and trying to make them like backwards compatible as well. That's a big thing for me at the moment. So most of the new parts you'll be able to use actually on a Chimera if you wanted to. I mean, it's appropriate to the name of, if nothing else. So what else do we need? On the inside we need a track for the door frame to fit into, but I'm at the point where I'm going to actually join this together. Combine. And what I'll do now is a little trick. Well, it's not really a trick. It's just a method. When we merge these vertices, we're going to be very sure that we don't try and integrate the intercom or the handles. I don't think it's going to be an actual issue because and we should also have the same coloring in here that we've got on the opposite side there. So let's apply a dark gray Lambert. So you'll notice when we turn off the wireframe and shift it, you can see that the darker gray is metallic and the other areas are sort of lighter. That does look really cool. Wow, why did it run faster when it wasn't isolated? That's a bit bizarre. It's like running like butter right now. So I'm just saving this real quick because that's a good practice to do. I haven't felt like it has been auto-saving. I'm just going to go in and make sure it is on. Sometimes Maya likes to turn it off for no good reason. Let's see, files and projects. Autosave is on. It's set to 20-minute intervals and a maximum of 5, which is good because I suspect we're about, I think, 1.7 gig per copy. So our hard drives have filled up on copies before, and this is starting to feel like, you know, a cool feature of the ship. So what I'm going to do is, as I mentioned, we're going to look at this from the top. We can kind of see where the wall is, and in fact, if I press 6, we can see exactly where the wall is. So I'm just going to center the pivot on this and drop it down in the very middle of the door, or what I think is the middle. And then we're just going to duplicate this, and we're going to rotate it 180 degrees, so it's opposite. You can see this is both sides, right? So why did I rotate it and not just mirror it? Well, because we can have the intercom on the other side, and it kind of makes sense if you've got a vacuum seal or something on that door that you don't want to actually change things. Although I see now that the semiotic isn't quite where we might want it to be, so we might need to consider placing it on this side in the final version. Normally I like to do it on the right side, but actually I do it either side. So this symbol indicates it's pressurized on the other side. So it's also an airlock, I think, maybe. I can't remember 100%. But the point is we want to get this frame. And I'm just going to bring in the wall there as well, because I want to make sure... Okay, this is open right now. Now, I am considering whether or not I should make these two separate objects. They will be combined into one for printing. But does it make more sense to me to have this frame separate so we can use it for other doors? Because we're going to use it opposite for the other engineering door. And maybe we'll even implement this kind of door style, maybe not with the same frame, into other parts of the ship. So one door, but you might have 2 or 3 variants, let's see. Because Maya's actively trying to sabotage you, unlike Blender. Will there be a stretch goal for an alternative nose on the Odyssey, more in the flat top from the prior Chimera, maybe with a random window slots in the front face? I mean, you could just use Chimera parts for it, really. I'm not sure if they will work straight out the gate, though, so... Something to consider. It isn't on the list, per se. Let's combine these. And actually, I see... We need to get rid of this geometry here. And that should have been mirrored too, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So let's delete that. We're going to merge those again. And now you can see we've got this nice gap. I think the thickness is... Each of these squares is 1/32 of an inch. So from it's 1/16 of an inch wide, should be wide enough to print fairly well. Let's do that calculation real quick. If we do 25.4 for millimeters divided by 16, that means it's 1.5 millimeters thick, which is great. It means you've got 3 layer lines at least there, right? If they're 0.4. Possibly closer to 4, so that's nice and thick. At least if my math is on point. The next thing we want to probably do is come down just a little bit here. We want to leave a little bit of room. Actually, you know what? We're going to select around the frame because we'll work with extrusions. I am so surprised that worked on the first go. So one thing we're going to do is delete the top again because we need a place for the door to actually be installed through, right? And then we're going to extrude wide the door, and we're actually probably going to go for a square shape. Despite the shape of the door, if we're thinking about how it will print, it'll print much better if it's actually squared off. So we will do that. So I'm just going to grab from here to here. We're going to do a basic extrusion. I'm actually not going to use the extrude tools. I'm going to move the pivot point here to the corner. And we're just going to use our grid to make it 1 deep there. And then you can see here we have this issue still with the curvature, but that's easily solved. We just switch to scale mode, and we just scale in the Z axis. Delete this top part, and we have a nice frame there. And eventually we need to go down. But we're going to wait until we do the other side first. I'm just going to repeat the same operation. I'm not going to explain it this time. Wait, what? Is that? It looks like it's not entirely straight. Let's double check this from the top. Yeah, what's going on here? So there's a different angle between top and bottom there. So we need to like move that over. I wonder what that's about. Wait, did I didn't extrude the face yet, I hope. So okay, that was a little bit off skelter. So yeah, we just want to make sure this all matches. I guess the top and the bottom I must have forgotten to move it out or something. In any case, We identified it now, not when we were trying to wedge a door down, so we saved ourselves a failed print. That's always good. Now let's select these polygons again. I'm just going to move them to make sure I hadn't extruded, and I can see here that this is all following, so I haven't. Move the pivot point, and then we just follow the grid again so it matches the opposite side. We want to do our little scaling trick. These kind of tricks are like sneaky, but they're things that don't occur to beginners. So yeah, useful. I guess the door technically just slides in here somehow. Probably stays a little bit open. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to make compromises. And then we want to go down here. So we're going to do one more extrusion. And put it like there. So we should still get like a first layer or two underneath there. So let's just grab all of the sides, and I've decided actually we're going to just close these off. So I'm going to grab the far edges. So this will be its own sort of sub object. Whoops, wrong button. What is going on there? That was weird. This might be one of those bugs people warn you about in Maya. Alright. So if I have been doing everything correctly, we should be able to do a bridge around this entire rim. It worked. So we have a finished frame here. The only downside is that semiotic that we haven't sorted out yet. Oh, that and the fact that we need to close off just this side of things, right? So it kind of works in a different way. Well, here Hannah's creeping around again. Let's see, we'll put in 2 separations there. So there'll be some tidying up to do, but that is to be expected. And we have a brand new door frame. And if we just grab like right around this frame, but we take off the top bits. I'm going to do some more bridging. And here we can do 2 divisions. We get these lines, which is how many we need to get them to match up to the top here, but you can see they're not aligned. So if we just move these over. Oh, sounds like Hannes is heading out. Nope, he's eating. I'm updating you guys on what Hannes is doing according to my ears.
This is like a, what do you call it? Sports broadcast or something.
Yeah, a really shitty one. Can someone confirm that it's only in the first minute you're not allowed to swear on YouTube?
That's the rumor at least.
Do you know about that, Hannes?
What?
If you're allowed to swear after the first minute on YouTube.
Oh, I wouldn't dare, but I think there's something like that, right?
He said, oh, I wouldn't dare, but I think there's something like that, right? He stopped watching the stream for some reason. I don't know why. What? We're losing viewers?
I'm still having it on.
You're having it on?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go and buy some cat sand, you know.
Wow.
I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Sounds like a shitty time.
Shitty time. Shitty time for shitty sand.
All right, so we're gotten to the point where we can start thinking about the door frame. Oh, what's this one? Oh, an old frame that we had left from before. Okay, we can delete that. And now we just need to, again, grab this, but we're going to move that pivot point into the middle point. And I think it should be there. Duplicate. We're going to this time we are actually going to mirror it, and it should be in the X orientation. We immediately freeze the transformations. Select these, mesh, combine. Let's isolate these by themselves. And then it should just be a case of selecting this side and that side, bridging between the two. So we actually have a solid door now. The difference is, once again, we want to turn that into a squared off piece, right? So I can implement a window or some controls or something on the door in a little bit, but we will square this off and then finish up for the day. Humans would make good crew members because he would be distinct from your prior crew members. Oh, hummus. Hummus. What? What is hummus eating? Yeah, his name is not hummus. Hannes. It's like Han Solo, and then is. Right, why did that select everything? I don't know. Shut up. Okay. Right, so right now I'm just not choosing the most favorable frame. I'm just sort of gonna grab to the halfway point, which I think should be, we're looking for the one that's like 45 degrees, which is like there. So we come down to there, and we're just going to do the trick again of getting that to match. Then we want to use our grid and move it over one, like so. We would then grab and do the same to the opposite side. So again, we're looking for the optical 45 degree there, so we'll be starting there, coming down. Let's see, it should be that one there, so down to there. All right, we move that over. So we can kind of see now what we need. Then we just do the thing, scaling it there, but we want to go all the way to the top. Wait, what on earth is all that stuff I just selected? Yeah, that was not meant to be selected. All right. Let's try this again. So we go all the way to the top, maybe just slightly underneath. Actually, no, because we'll have a gap at the bottom. Because you don't want it to sit exactly. You need some like tolerance area. All right. Delicious truth is my second's language. What? I mean, you live up to your name. Well, sorry, no, I was misreading that as totally glitch. Tamsin speaks delicious truth. Okay. All right, so we have the frame there, and I just realized there's a gap at the top. Let's fill that in real quick, and then we are done. So we can just grab this and this. All of these. Oh, okay. See, now when I was changing those vertex points, we forgot to change one side here, so we need to match these up and also combine the vertexes together. And we'd likely have the similar problem on the opposite side, yes, because we forgot that. So 20 minutes over, but hey, we're getting things done. And I'm most likely just going to go home and work more once I've watched the dog while my wife's at the stable. So, yeah, get a little bit more in here. And you guys get a tiny bit more company for whatever work or happy business you're going about on this fine Friday. We had a lot of snow this morning. It looks miserable outside. I'm so looking forward to shoveling that later. Alrighty, there we go. A complete frame and a complete door. And we'll just change the material on this to, I don't know, a dark yellow, just to make it pop for the time being, so that we can see it nice and clear. We've got our workshop here. I still need to work on getting the crawl space access in this room going. There'll be one on the other side here too, I think. So I really need to consider the best way to go about that. The door, I'll be repeating here. And yeah, we'll see what else we recycle of this. But thank you for joining me today. Doors and corners, yep, there you go. We will be back next week, probably even more panicked than today. Hopefully not with all of this mess out for everyone to see. But it does give you some kind of indication of the amount of work that goes into these ships. And even though, you know, maybe I've worked on this 4 weeks in total, a lot of that work is just because of all of the Chimera work that came before it. So in any case, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out John's Frontier and back if you have the cash for it. I'm sure it's a great game to play. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on my copy at some point. And I will see you guys next Friday. Oh, by the way, we did do an update today on the deck plans. They have been slightly delayed. Read about that on the Kickstarter or on my mini factory in the Frontier for the Beowulf. So basically, to summarize it very briefly, Dalton was using plugins and didn't realize that a feature was missing from the standard thing. So we had to kind of rearrange the way we're doing maps. So it's expected that the Type S should be hopefully fixed by the end of the weekend. So see you guys next week. And we'll have another exciting adventure into 3